Hey guys, and welcome to Ozzie Reviews, and welcome to this month's Q A. Now, I thought I'd, I guess, change it up a little bit, guys. Just sitting out here beside the campfire and about to cook up some dinner, and I just thought, this would be the perfect setting, just to sit back and answer some of the questions that we got via Patreon this month. So, guys, a couple of interesting questions here, but as I always do, let's start off with, what's new at Ozzie Reviews. So what I've done recently is I've started another Facebook page. Now, the original Ozzie Reviews Facebook page is still there. However, I've started another one, okay, which is just Ozzie full stop reviews. Okay, so it's on Facebook there. We've got 1,000 people that have come across in the last 24 hours, and I have posted on the original Facebook page that, hey, I am starting a new page and I'd like everyone to go across and like that if they could. Now, the reason why I've done that is because for some reason a couple of years ago when I ended up doing some advertising through Facebook, ever since then my actual numbers have been pretty much halted of my followers on Facebook. So what I mean by that is usually around that 28,800 it would always get almost frozen at, and anyone who comes to my page and follows it, will come back like, within 5 minutes and they're unfollowed. They can't follow it. So, this is obviously a big problem. So even as I've grown, like I remember I ended up jumping from 28,000 up to 35,000 likes on my Facebook page a couple of months ago. Now I thought, this is great, yep, awesome. All of a sudden, bang, the next day it's gone back and reset to 28,800. So, obviously there's some problem there. People have suggested that I report it. Yeah, I've done that. They just ignore it. They don't care whatsoever. So what I'm doing is I've started that new page, which obviously I'm not going to go ahead and pay for any promotion or anything like that to get the name out there. I'm just going to leave it as is and get you guys to come across and like it. So, please make sure you do that. Ozzie Reviews Official on Facebook, and you'll see that there, and you'll see my posts accordingly. So let's see if we can actually grow, because really from the amount of traffic that I've had in the last 9 odd years of doing this channel, I should be well over 100,000 likes on there, and I'm simply not. So I'm hoping the new page can actually grow and I can be treated fairly, just like any other user that uses Facebook. So let's see how we go. Now, what else is new at Ozzie Reviews? Look, we've been doing a few different reviews in the background here, and you'll get a look at them as time goes on. But, I actually replaced my sunglasses recently. I got some loophole ones, and I find them really quite nice. They seem to fit my melon a lot better than what my previous ones did. And I thought, oh, well, why not change it up a little bit? So I got them. I've put them through the full review. Now, this is the loophole tracer glasses, and I've shot it with 8-shot and also 36 gram 4-shot field loads. So, this is pretty good from a 12 gauge at 5 meters. So how did it all sort of work out? Well, you'll just have to wait to see in the review. So, we've got that one coming out. Also too, I was contacted by the owner of Oceana Precision and asked if I'd do a review on their new, straight pull AR, basically in 223 or something similar. So I'm happy to do that. So, hopefully that should happen, sometime maybe this month or whenever they get around to it. Now, I'll agree to things, guys, with, different manufacturers who come and approach me, but I don't really go chasing them because that's not my job. I mean, they get enough out of me, obviously with the free advertising and that. So, I don't feel it's my job to, go and chase them. So I know you guys love the honest reviews, and, there's a lot of you out there who reference, obviously, my channel, so you get the honest, viewpoint of exactly how the product works. So I appreciate that, but sometimes, look guys, like I said, I just don't go chasing the manufacturers. So, when it comes to me, it comes to me. That's how I look at it. So anyhow, look, let's get into this month's questions. As I said, there's a couple of good questions here. So the first one I've got here is from Dimitri, and he says, just want to ask what you think is the best way to learn about and to put into practice about how a scope works and how to make adjustments to suit conditions. I'm still struggling with the calculations on how to estimate the required adjustment. Do you have any sources of info or simple tips? Thanks, Dimitri. Well, Dimitri, I've actually done a video on how to sight in a scope, and in that I also explain like the adjustments. So that's in my beginner series. So if you haven't seen that, by all means, please have a look at it, because that will help you. But you've basically got mils or you've got MOA. They're the two main measurements. Okay, so MOA, minute of angle. Now that's more, I guess, of the imperial system, and mils is more for people who want to work in the metric system. So for me personally, I like MOA, but I can work in mils as well. But let's just take MOA for example, and this is only a very basic understanding to try to give you a bit of a kickstart on how to understand it. Now if you've got basically 1 MOA will equal 1 inch roughly at 100 yards, okay? So what you've got to realize is an MOA scope usually has quarter MOA adjustments. So if you want to be able to move that reticle 1 inch, okay, at 100, you have to use it, you have to move it 1 MOA. So if you've got a scope and it's a quarter MOA adjustments, well, how many clicks do you have to do to move 1 MOA? Well, you have to do 4, don't you? Okay, and that's how it works. But that MOA, as you go out to like 200, okay, 1 MOA equals 2 inches. So each one of those, quarter MOA clicks is actually half an inch, not a quarter of an inch as to what it would be at 100 yards. So it's a very simple and basic formula. And then once you start to master that and learn about it, well, that's when you can then go out to longer range and you can actually get, with experience, a lot easier and quicker adjustments out in the field. Now, what I'd probably suggest is, get a target. There's a lot of them, like the Hornady ones I use, also the other high-vis ones. There's various different ones, and they have the actual measurement in the squares, okay? So you can actually have a quarter inch or a half inch square, or even an inch. So for example, if you're shooting there at 100, what will happen is you can, say for example, you're like 2 squares off and each square is an inch. Well, then you're 2 inches off. So if you're working in MOA, then your scope is at quarter MOA adjustment. So each click equals a quarter MOA. Well, then obviously it's going to be 8 of those clicks to move those 2 inches. Okay, so it's just basic like that, mate. You've really got to learn it and get more experience with it. So the best way to do it is just get out there and get into it, and then it will come to you naturally. Next question I got here is from Walter, and he says, "Hi Ozzie, I'm thinking of joining a rifle club for long distance shooting out to 1K. My thoughts are on the 300 Win Mag or the 7mm Remington Magnum. Any suggestions on which one to choose?" This is a hard one, in the sense of you can start a bar fight every time with, people who prefer, 7mm to, 7.62 or 30 cal. There's a lot of advantages to both. The 7mm Remington Magnum has quite high ballistic coefficient, projectiles available, like very high actually. So, you can really get out to longer ranges there and keep that round aerodynamic for greater distances. Okay, so the more aerodynamic it is, the more it's going to hang on and retain its velocity, and obviously the more velocity you got, the longer you're going to be able to do that shot before you go through that transonic zone, which is obviously going under the speed of sound, where you can suffer a lot of accuracy problems. But in saying that, you're not talking about a 308 here, you're talking about a 300 Win Mag, and you can get, some really good, like 220, 240 grain match projectiles, for the 300 Win Mag. And I tell you what, you'll reach out well and truly with them as well. Honestly, mate, personally, I think they're on a par. I don't see how you could go wrong with either, because both of them have some excellent high ballistic coefficient projectiles that you can obviously, reload for that particular purpose. Even if you're looking at getting out at that distance and just starting off with some match ammunition, you can do that too. But once again, as you go up the scale, like 300 Win Mag, 7mm Remington Magnum, it starts to become pretty expensive. So just keep that in mind, but you will probably want to get into reloading. But honestly, mate, either of them would, be a good choice. I would probably lean more to the 300 Win Mag, only because of the availability of the ammo. You know, it's just more available here in Australia. 7mm, you can still get it, but the 300 Win Mag is a lot more popular. So yeah, make your decision and let me know how you go. Now, next question I got here is from Richard, and he's got a couple of questions. So first one, he says, "G'day Ozzie, why do we see these days so many people going for such large calibers to shoot foxes and rabbits? I know a bloke who brought a 300 Win Mag, and when I asked him what he's going to shoot with it, his reply was long-range bunny busting. Are we headed towards the USA, where to be seen you have to have bigger and better? As you say many times, dead is dead, not to mention the cost of some big calibers. What's your thoughts?" Well, that is a good question, mate. Look, good on those guys who want to have a bit of fun with the larger calibers, you know, and do some long range stuff. But, you know, for me, I mean, for shooting foxes and stuff like that, I mean, geez, the most I've really used on foxes is 223. Yeah, most of the time, 22 Magnum, 22 LR, you know, you can get them in close enough to be able to take that shot. But, you know, as like your friend's talking about here, long range, well, what happens when you go out to those long ranges? Well, honestly, personally, I think a 22-250 is, you know, probably the ultimate long range varmint caliber. But yeah, I just don't see the point in anything larger than that. Like I say, all well and good to those guys who want to do it, you know, but yeah, they've got to pay the price for getting the ammo and everything else. But yeah, I don't see the point personally, mate, because I guess I come from a feral pest control point of view, and that simply is, you know, to be able to do it efficiently, in other words, cost effective. So yeah, that's my view on that one. Now, the next question I got from Richard is, what are your thoughts on the 6.5 precision rifle cartridge? Yes, it's expensive to shoot, but do you get the results and performance to justify the cost? That's a interesting one as well, mate, because I thought the same thing, and then when I actually had a look at the ballistics on it, you know, it wasn't traveling that much faster than the 6.5 Creedmoor. Yes, you're getting a little bit more, but to me, I probably look at it and think similar to like the 308 or 30-06, you know, in terms of target shooting, and I don't really think there's that much of a difference. Yeah, that's just my point of view on it. But in saying that too, I've not shot it, mate, so I can't give a, you know, definitive answer on it. That's just my feelings on it at this stage without having used it. Now, last question I got from Richard is, Ozzie, are you going to do a review on the Sako S20 rifle in any time in the near future? Well, funny you should say that, because I had organised it, and I was supposed to get one of them. This is from the Beretta rep here in Australia, and yeah, nothing happened. So they got my number and everything like that. Like I said in the beginning of this, I don't really go chasing manufacturers, because really at the end of the day, me reviewing their product is really doing them the favour. So yeah, I'm happy to help them out, but you know, they've got to work with me a bit here. Perhaps something's happened, they've just got busy or whatever, I don't know, but yeah, I haven't chased them, mate, so perhaps I need to pick up the phone and see where that's at. Next question I got here is from Dave, and he says, "Hey Ozzie, what's your thoughts on the ultimate survival caliber and why?" All right, another good question. We're getting a lot of good questions this month. I enjoy these sort of questions, you know, because everyone has a different opinion and a viewpoint on it. But you know, for me, mate, honestly, like the 22 LR, but I would probably say the 22 Magnum. That would have the edge. And why I say it is because you can cart so much of it with you, you know, so, you know, try lugging around, you know, 500 rounds of 308 or 223, you know, compared to obviously 500 rounds of 22 LR or 22 Magnum. The 22 Magnum, why I like that and why it's got the edge is because, you know, here on the farm, like, I mean, you know, I can drop steers with it, no dramas whatsoever. You know, just correct shot placement and legs just fold out from underneath them, instant humane kill. So you can take larger game with it in like a survival situation. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with it. Not a great deal of recoil naturally, not a great deal of noise either. So I just think it's just a good all-rounder because, you know, you can shoot, you know, meat, like you can shoot obviously, you know, rabbits, hares, that sort of thing. and you're not doing a whole heap of damage, you know, to the meat, where obviously with a lot larger calibers, yeah, you are. So, you know, I do quite like it for that purpose, and I do think that it's probably the ultimate survival caliber. Next question I got here is from Tim, and he says, hey Ozzie, what shot size do you recommend for 12 gauge on pigs? Well, I would say probably 00 buck. You know, that's been the go-to, you know, for pigs for, I don't know how long, mate, as long as I've been shooting 12 gauge anyway. So, but in saying that too, like, you know, you can use BBs, you know, you can even use 2s on them and you'll still do the job. One thing I would probably recommend if you are looking at, you know, getting some buckshot and you're chasing pigs, obviously, you know, you can't always get that close to them, and you know, some of them are a little bit further away. I would have a look at the video I did on the Federal Flight Control buckshot. Now, I tested that compared to normal Federal buckshot, and there was quite an improvement in holding that pattern together out at those longer ranges. So it'd just be absolutely brilliant on pigs, and I think, you know, if that's your main purpose, have a look at that video. I think you'll find it very interesting. Next question I got here is from Bill, and he says, hi Ozzie, I saw your post recently on Facebook regarding the ammo shortages. When do you think it will return to normal? Now this is a really interesting one. For those guys who didn't see this, I did a post on Facebook, yes, the new Facebook page, and I was talking about the ammo shortages, you know, in the States. I mean, it is just getting dire straits over there at the moment, and you know, it's going to obviously have a ripple effect, in my view, down here in Australia. So I honestly believe that there's going to be a lot of problems in the US because obviously they're, you know, election issues that they've got. Now, I'm not going to take sides here. It's you know, you can be going for Trump or Biden, whoever you want. I believe firmly that no matter who gets in, there's going to be a lot of issues with you know, civil unrest and so forth that we've seen in the US. So I do think there's going to be a continued demand, especially if Biden does get in, because you know, his anti-gun policies are clearly on his website there, and they are fairly radical in my view. So you know, people will definitely buy up more and more ammunition. But I was having a look at the Federal Premium website there only a couple of nights ago, you know, and just going through the different ones, 223 and also 22 and 22 Magnum and all that sort of stuff, all the stuff I shoot. And I couldn't believe it, you know, it was just currently unavailable, currently unavailable, currently unavailable. And anyhow, you know, I phoned around a few of the gun shops here, and there's a lot on back order. Now, one of the things I thought I'd get, I like using those, you know, bottle of bullets there for, if you can hear footsteps, guys, this is Hank walking around at my feet here. Yeah, I like those bottle of bullets, the 250 round, you know, pack of 22 Magnum, the 50 grain ammo. And anyhow, so, you know, I was able to pick up a couple of, you know, bottles of them, but now they're unavailable. You know, they're on back order, and I believe it's like, yeah, quite a few thousand on back order, you know, through Nyola, because obviously they're the importer of Federal. So anyhow, I scrolling through, and I had a look on one particular site, and it's gone up like virtually this week from the old price, which was about $80 a bottle. And now it's $100 a bottle. So $20 increase in like a couple of days. And obviously that's, you know, on back order. So no longer is it, you know, around that 30 cents a shot. It's now up at 40 cents a shot. And that's just one caliber. So, you know, I look at it and I look at all these other calibers that are out of stock, currently unavailable. You know, I've heard from one of the shops as well, through one of the other importers, that there's a 6 to 9 month delay on you know, getting ammunition, you know, and then another importer's saying that they've got a shipment expected in January. You know, you're looking at that sort of stuff and you're just thinking, wow, okay, well, what if it gets pushed back? Will there be delays and all that sort of thing? So to answer your question here, Bill, like, you know, when do I think it'll return to normal? Mate, I think honestly this is going to go on, you know, for about another 9 months to possibly a year. I really believe that, because here in Australia what will happen is obviously you know, we should still be able to get like European ammo. So, you know, like Ely, obviously the Sako ammunition, you know, and different ones like that. But people say, oh, well, you know, what about OSA making the ammunition here? Yeah, but the projectiles are from the US, don't forget that. So if they've got no projectiles, well, how can they make the ammo? So I think there's going to be quite a few problems, and yeah, I hope it returns to normal soon. But I've always had that motto. People have heard it countless times. Get what you can while you can. I've always said it. Now, I'm not suggesting, you know, you have to go out and buy a container load of ammo, but just have enough to see you through, you know, the next 9 months to a year, and then things, you know, should hopefully return to normal from there. So anyhow, that's my thoughts on it, mate. Who knows what's going to happen? We all just have to wait and see. All right, guys, that's it for this month's Q&A. If you want to submit questions and you want my individual help, it's only available to those of you who are kind enough to help me out on Patreon, which you can do from $1 a month. So it's my way of saying thank you to those of you who help me out. So I hope you enjoyed this month's Q&A, and if you like the sort of change up, instead of just seeing me, you know, sit in my office there, then, you know, give this a thumbs up, let us know in the comments, and, you know, who knows, next time I might throw a steak on and have a beer. All right, guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the next Q&A.